This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.
As an employee can cause your employer liability, so keep your nose so clean, free of torts and crimes. No cause for lawsuits or anyone to drop a dime. Do you know that there's still a chance for
Talk Radio 790 KBC. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, and I'm a real lawyer, and this is comedy, which I think we all need a little bit of after what happened tonight. And, you know, along those lines, I thought I got this very interesting guest in here tonight who's played in many big games. But now he has some work-related injuries he wishes to discuss. Given the sensitive nature of my guest's issues, he will simply go by his initials, J.O.
Are you about to throw something at me?
Like a question?
Don't hit me.
Why would I be about to hit you?
It's weird. It just felt like you hit me with something.
I'm not sure how well this show is going to work out.
How long is this going to take? My head's hurting.
My show generally runs 1 to 23 or 4 hours.
I didn't know we would be here until tomorrow night. I got plans to visit a vineyard tomorrow.
Actually, tomorrow morning I have to represent a plaintiff in her sexual harassment and race discrimination deposition. We'll have to cut this episode a little short to maybe just 3 hours.
Who are you again?
Do we have to keep getting into that on every show?
Not every show.
Okay, I'm Karl Gerber, workplace lawyer, but I went by a few handles during the 80s when I operated a bulletin board system or two online before there was a formally organized internet.
Wow, that's way back. I didn't use a computer those days. I might not be a good guest for this show.
I was under the impression you played in a couple of big games and you were going to talk about how your career as a ball player may have caused you work injuries.
Yeah, that's me. I played in the 92, 93, and 95 games.
That's amazing.
I'm kind of thirsty. Would you happen to have any wine?
We don't drink during these shows.
What about the thereafter?
We don't debate religion on this show, but we've covered the lemon drops.
Yeah, the skinlets who live below the ground, they're a cool bunch of, I can't say, people? You don't happen to have any white corners, maybe with a hint of fermented lemon, do you?
You know, I'm not a drinking man, but given the guests who've come through the studio, had I been, well, I'd be plastered after every one of these shows.
On account of you not being a drinking man, do you happen to have any grape juice?
This isn't a juice bar.
All the questions the guests ask on this show never cease to amaze a good part of my brain.
Why is that?
You would think that the peoples would come in and get straight down, southeast to their labor and employment issues instead of, they ask for eggs and juice.
Are there any other weird things the guest on the show does in your experience as a show host?
Yeah, they always talk about wanting to get up in the middle of the program and go somewhere else. Do they realize there would be dead silence? Is that better than what we say?
Given all of my workplace traumas in the big leagues, I don't give that much thought.
What's going on?
Not a mucho. I just hope the game tonight, or I wish it went better for L.A.
I meant the other thing that just happened.
Don't worry about it. It was just a case of sloppy scripting.
With you having an office in Oxnard and all, you probably know the Cowboys practice in Oxnard.
Yeah, and a lot of them stay in a particular apartment-like hotel in the area.
Yeah, Residence Inn. Anyway, there were months between June and September in Dallas.
There are still months between June and September.
You gotta let me finish.
In Dallas.
You gotta let me finish. Every day between June 1st and Labor Day in Dallas, I got to 92 minimum, sometimes 100 degrees. I said, we can't practice here anymore.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the 214, 972, and even the 469 area codes. As I'm sure you don't know, I'm licensed to practice in Texas and also Massachusetts.
Yeah, man, I had a 214 area code during my last big game. They were just starting the 972. I kissed my lucky Star Spangled Banners. I got out of town before the 469 hit.
Oh, I think that's a good thing that you left before the 469 area code hit. It's sort of like the 747 area code for the Valley. 818 is so Valley, but 747 is an airplane.
Yeah, man, who wants a 69 in their area code?
Why are you here? Well, yeah, Yeah. Well, given all my workplace traumas in the big leagues, I don't give that much thought. Why are you here? You have no idea why you're here?
I wasn't thinking along those lines. More like 3 area codes is a lot for one city, but we've got 9 area codes in Los Angeles County.
You got 9 area codes in Los Angeles County. Well, I'm in one of those area codes. Did someone invite you here?
Yeah, that must be a whole lot of booty call.
Well, I think it's a good thing that you left before the 469 area code hit. Or did I already say that? Why are you here?
You know, I thought you'd know.
Did somebody invite you here?
No, I'm trying to get in, to the winery business.
You're trying to get into the winery business. I thought you were here to discuss these injuries that you have.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is. He's supposed to have some kind of football injuries, and I was hoping he'd talk about it, but we're a little confused here. Is there someone else who would know why you're here?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, I'm the ball player. I played in 92, in 93, in the 95 big games in Dallas.
Okay, and what else do you have to say?
Well, what's with all the numbers?
What's with all the numbers? They're area codes, I think.
Right.
Okay, and 214-972-469. Those are area codes in the Dallas area, I presume.
Right, and what's with all those numbers?
They're still the area codes in the city you live in.
Yeah, man, that makes 2 of us. I have no idea.
Well, I don't have any idea either. Are you an existentialist?
I think so.
Are you sure about that?
Maybe.
Doesn't sound like you have a lot of answers to anything, but tell me more about these head conditions you're having.
Well, then we're just going to sit here for the rest of almost 3 hours left asking each other why we are here.
Well, I think it's because we exist, and of course there's freedom of choice and freedom, of course.
You might exist, but I sure don't.
I do exist, and maybe somebody knows more about this than you're letting on right now.
This sure is a dumb conversation.
Yeah, it is a little bit on the dumb side. I'd have to say, are you a smart man?
Well, you started it. It's like 214-972-469.
You're telling me those are the area codes of the Dallas area.
Yeah, I played in the big game for Dallas, 92, 93, and 95. Now, do you have any grape juice?
Why do the guests on this show always ask so many strange questions?
Don't get me started.
Now I'm remembering you were supposed to have suffered some injuries because you played ball.
The pink rhinoceros running around this room is why I'm wearing the minotaur headpiece. Why am I? You haven't even asked.
Oh, that's obvious. You must be an arbitrator for Remus Helms. He requires his arbitrators to wear minotaur headpieces. Oh, wait, they're supposed to be older than him, and you're younger than him.
Don't you remember? When he came on the show for episode 32, he said he was reconsidering that part of his employee arbitration policy.
Then you were one of his arbitrators? Does Remus Helms think this part of the show is an arbitration? Am I supposed to be a witness?
I think you are a witness, but that's not why I'm wearing the minotaur headpiece.
Right. It was either wearing a minotaur headpiece or an ever-growing berber toupee that's actually nylon.
Of course not. I'd never wear a contraption like that. Oh, or would I? Am I?
Okay, I'm all out of guesses. I'm sure there's a completely logical explanation why you're wearing a minotaur headpiece, but I just couldn't guess it. Who could?
It's tightening my crumpet. Putting all my J.O. in my M.O.
I wasn't thinking along those lines. More like 3 area codes, a lot for one city, but we've got 9 area codes in Los Angeles County.
Silver. It's made out of pure silver, and I'm putting my player's purse to good use.
Okay, is this some type of new bling, or has a doctor prescribed that massive headpiece? It must weigh 35 pounds.
Well, you think my headpiece only weighs 35 pounds? They charged me 75 pounds of silver.
All right, you're listening to Karl Gerber, Workplace Lawyer Show. This is scripted comedy, and it's way out there, guys. We go backwards. We change each other's places. We go to different places in the script. You've got to keep up with this. If you want a lawyer that can keep up with your case, maybe you'll call me at the office at 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700 for an employee lawyer. That's 877-525-0700 for the real workplace lawyer. And, hopefully you're going to find out more about this guy who stumbled into the studio. He has some kind of a head injury from playing in the big game. He's been in 3 big games in Dallas, and he's wearing a minotaur headpiece. And the last time we heard about minotaur headpieces was what Remus Helms was requiring his arbitrators to wear because he thought that would keep the arbitrator more serious. And this guy in the studio here with the minotaur headpiece, that thing is heavy and it's made out of silver. And I think it's like 35 pounds, and he was telling me it's 75 pounds. So there's a whole lot of weirdness in here, and we're going to have to find more about this when we come back for the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KBC.
As an employee can cause your employer
Talk Radio
liability.
790
So keep your nose so
KBC.
clean,
This is the Karl
free of
Gerber
torts and
Workplace
crimes,
Lawyer
no
Show.
cause for
I'm Karl
lawsuits
Gerber.
for
I'm a real
anyone who
workplace
drops a
lawyer, and
dime.
there's all kinds of stuff
No
going on
care.
tonight. I'm totally confused. There was supposed to be a big-time ball game on the show, and then a sandwich. I can't say a sandwich. All right. I guess some guy who named New Jersey who makes hero sandwiches in his parents' basement. And so after that, we have a guy with a minotaur headpiece.
And you think it's really 35 pounds?
If you'd like, we can take off your headpiece and weigh it.
I can't do a thing like that.
Why?
Something's got to congeal my brain cells.
I'm not sensing that contraption is medically approved.
There are other reasons I don't want to take it off.
Such as what? It gives you an aura of superiority?
I feel so naked without my minotaur headpiece.
Can we get down to your work injuries of the ball player and how they might be compensable in the workers' compensation system, or whether there's a class action lawsuit you might be part of for all the players' head injuries?
Yeah, I gotta say I've got some real neck pains.
When did they start?
When I was playing. They got 10 times worse about a year ago when I turned 50.
Has a doctor advised whether your neck condition is a product of aging, or maybe your work exacerbated a congenital condition, or the process of aging?
I gotta say, I really didn't care much for Obama, even though it was required. I decided to stop my health insurance coverage because they were calling it Obamacare, even though it wasn't.
Dropping your medical insurance out of protest is a very bad idea considering the traumatic nature of your injuries. You definitely should have a means of getting medical care.
I'm red, white, and gray individualist. I did a lot of reading.
Medical and legal problems, as well as a lot of services done by licensed, trained, and educated professionals, are not something you can pick up and figure out by reading little blotches of ad sell on the internet, complete with link bait to get you there.
I ain't no dummy. I even read the sanitary.
Well, I have to agree that the sanitary provides the best coverage of the dynamic new field of sanitary napkin database management, but it doesn't necessarily get into all of the medical analysis that goes with all these trends.
I beg to differ.
You don't have to beg.
Huh? In last week's edition, they did a real good pro and con piece about whether it is good health for a woman to have but one sanitary napkin for her entire menstrual career.
I read that article too, and I don't believe it mentioned any pros other than women might save trips to Target and Walmart, all the same thing. If a certain evil hairdresser's ever-growing sanitary napkin became the official policy of this country.
Look here. I didn't get this minotaur headpiece at the dollar bin at Target. I looked up a real expert on heads and got him to make it special for me.
Was this person a doctor or just a thief?
Do you have a scale here? You got me all nervous. I gotta weigh this. You seem pretty sure I didn't get 75 pounds of silver.
Oh, BTW, why silver? Couldn't the contraption be made out of aluminum or even plastic?
Oh, no. Silver is the metal of emotions, even though I am having these head injuries. Silver brings me patience and perseverance, just like I was playing.
Is stainless steel famous for any metaphysical powers?
You being a builder and all, and there being all those stainless steel screws holding together your grass, I was hoping you knew.
Chromium is the secret of stainless steel. It heals itself. It doesn't rust when exposed to oxygen.
Wow, I gotta get me some stainless steel bullhead piece.
That might be a tad lighter. Perhaps your neck would feel better and you could retire your silver contraption.
Oh, no. I'd wear the bullhead piece on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and the minotaur headpiece once, a week. Once the week is warmed up, and on date nights, of course.
Have you ever seen a doctor for your neck problems?
Not since I was in the league in '01.
A workers' compensation doctor could at least get you prescribed the right medications, even if there isn't anything you can do about your neck pains.
There's no need for that. I take the little AMC gremlin-colored pill and the medium-sized hex number D2B4DE colored pill.
Why are you referring to a color by an HTML code?
That's how Dr. Zhivago advertises the pills.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he said if I take the little AMC gremlin-colored pill and mash it up with the medium-sized hex D2B4DE colored pill, the neck pain will, go to China.
I'm concerned about this because Dr. Zhivago is not actually a doctor and is not a he either.
You talking about the southeastern Dr. Zhivago or the west coast Dr. Zhivago, the swing shift talk radio Dr. Zhivago on the west coast, or the day shift?
Dr. Zhivago was on episode 38 of this show. She's a she. She's a notary public who has a doctorate of divinity. She warned us there are a lot of unauthorized Dr. Zhivagos out there.
Oh, wow. Maybe I gotta get this, maybe I got this misprescribed.
An unlicensed doctor can't prescribe.
You're saying Dr. Zhivago's an imposter?
It's just a bunch of different people. Some licensed to use the name, and all sorts of different people in different time zones, and on the air at different times of the day.
I kind of wondered why they sounded different. I figured it was one really good voice actor like some of the ones you get on this show.
Are you insulting some of my voice actors? But less than all of them?
I'm not going to insult Remus Helms, if that's what you thought I'd do.
Yes, that would be foolish. He and Cindy D are top searched and listened to characters on this show. But at any rate, did you actually meet a Dr. Zhivago who claimed to be a doctor?
Why would you think of that? I got prescribed on the radio.
Was this through a call-in?
No, more like Dr. Zhivago advertising the good stuff about the little gremlin-colored pill and how it gets along real well with the hex number pill.
There's a lot to be said about the quality of the doctors in the workers' compensation system. After all, we had conflicting opinions on whether Anita Orchid Helms died of workplace boredom, whether she was still alive, dead, etc. But even a doctor that isn't perfect is better than listening to a perhaps unauthorized Dr. Zhivago doing a sales spiel while hawking useless vitamins that might just turn your urine lime green.
In my case, the color of an orange. Neat stuff.
There is a legal principle that somebody wrong needs to act reasonably. For instance, if you could easily get better through real medical treatment, whoever caused your injuries might not be liable for the lingering nature of your injuries or treatment needed because of your failure to undertake proper medical treatment. In workers' compensation, some of that might not entirely matter, but the percent of fault attributed to your employer might be reduced, or the need for permanent medical treatment might be influenced by the fact you are prolonging your condition, and there's a recognized surgery or medical treatment that would put you in better shape.
Shape? Look at these fingers. Have you ever seen a middle finger with this kind of definition? The muscle strength I've got.
Wow! That is rather impressive. I bet you could lift 100 pounds with just that one finger.
You want to see me?
I'm sure the radio audience would take enormous pleasure in watching you use your middle digit to lift 100 pounds or more. Maybe we could start on a little smaller scale and you could start with lifting your minotaur headpiece.
Okay. I'll take it off under those conditions, but it's just a warm-up on account of the headpiece weighing 75 pounds.
J.O., you should put the headpiece back on.
I didn't even lift it with my finger yet.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's a queen rug you're sporting on top of your head. It's orange, white, and pink model.
I am sorry. I should have tampooned it a couple of times today.
That's not really the issue.
Why are you being so discreet?
I'm sorry, but the same product can't be worn on one's head and the townhome floor.
I've been hearing a lot of people saying that lately. But here's the real question. Can it go on a condominium floor or only a townhome floor? Because I've got a condo in Vail, and if it gets wet, I could tampoon it. New carpet would grow under it, and, you know, the old wet carpet would go away forever. Right?
I don't want to burst your rain cloud, but the revolutionary product is not even berber, it's nylon.
Woo! And he said the headpiece was 75 pounds. You're not the first person who said maybe it's only 35 or 40 pounds.
The same person told you the headpiece was 75 pounds as what exactly?
There's nothing to do it. I got a 2-for-1 special. One ever-growing berber toupee in the trendy new color coral reef, which is an orange, white, and lighter pink. And this here minotaur headpiece made out of silver, maybe as stylish as the one Remus Helms makes his employment arbitrators wear.
Oh, man, this is awful. When we come back, we got to figure out what's going on with this bizarre guest on the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KBC.
An employee can cause your employer liability, so keep your nose so clean.
This sounds like the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KBC. I'm supposed to be Karl Gerber, and he is a real workplace lawyer. And I've got the weirdest guest in here with a 35 or 75 pound silver minotaur headpiece he claims is congealing his brain. I thought this guy played in 3 big games, and that's why I had him on the show. So, J-O-D-I-D, you actually meet Myron Alfombra, pronounced Matting, but spelled M&M.
Oh, yeah, sure. On account of me playing in 3 big games, and all he wanted to get was a picture of me wearing the coral reef ever-growing berber toupee that you say is actually nylon.
It's a completely different voice. Maybe, I don't know. J.O., did that embarrass you? What have your fans said wearing that contraption?
My lawyer filed an injunction to prevent the picture from being published anywhere.
I sure hope your lawyer was successful. That's a picture of him wearing a Berber toupee in orange, bright pink and white.
Not exactly. He said somebody issued a national emergency to prevent the injunction.
How could your picture prevent a national emergency?
The reasoning was the public might go out and buy ever-growing Berber toupees if they didn't see me in the coral reef model. But the funny thing was the picture boosted sales of the Queen's rugs 10,000%.
Hamsters! This is definitely government corruption.
You know who's here, Myron Alfombra, pronounced matting and spelled M&M's cuts, don't you?
Unfortunately, I was there during one of those tri-plug trims. I confronted Alfombra ETL, spelled and pronounced nothing like Alfombra. He was supposed to take his product off the market.
Although my lawyer doesn't quite see it my way, the picture of me with the coral reef toupee got more views on the internet than the royal wedding, and even the term bird box meme or Kelsey breath.
There is some publicity that tends to tarnish one's image. Take, for instance, this particular show.
Oh, yeah. I know you were a hard-working, respected employee lawyer before this show started last April.
True, but this has taught me quite a bit about making a fool of someone in about 10 seconds opposed to 10 minutes, or how to get decision makers totally enmeshed in whatever I'm saying.
What about getting the people to bust up and rupture their rectum in the process?
Doing this show has given me experience getting people to bust up, but not whether or not they're busting up their rectum in the process, or I'm supposed to be responsible for that. I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Gee, I sure like to know if I was legally responsible for somebody rupturing their rectum. More so if that all happened because I made them bust up. No other reason.
Sure.
Sweet mother of Minnie Mouse, my head is killing me.
Another voice. What is going on? Am I going crazy? You said it. I should put the minotaur headpiece back on.
Why don't you take the minotaur headpiece off?
I'm having second thoughts about the coral reef toupee, with my lawyer saying there should be a legal stop put to it.
Can we talk about employment law? The Helms Foundation is going to stop sponsoring my show if all I do is sketch comedy.
That was weird.
What part of it? The headpiece? The rectum jokes? The ever-growing nylon product?
The way we were talking.
That's nothing. We could have got on that way for a whole page of script.
Well, for your information, that was a class action settlement for my league. I opted out of the settlement. Otherwise, it would have basically only been my medical bills if they existed.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of class action settlements for major injuries or labor law violations that are worth big money to each class member. People who have big money damages need to sue individually.
That's what my lawyer told me.
I once got a call from a guy who was going to get maybe $100 or $200 on an overtime claim he had, but it was worth $20,000. Not the biggest overtime claim in the world, but I just didn't see how $20,000 could translate into $200.
How did that happen?
The guy was supposed to be a class representative, and he was doing exactly what class representatives should be doing by questioning whether the class would get fair and adequate compensation. His own lawyer turned it around with the defense lawyer to say the guy who called me was mere concerned with his own interests.
How much was that lawyer going to get?
The lawyer was going to get more than $1.5 million, which isn't the biggest fee in the world if he did nothing but that case for a year or two or even 5, and had other people in his office also working on it, and he advanced major costs. It was, however, a lot of money for a case that was just filed.
How many hours could be spent on a class action in a year's time if the lawyer didn't have a bunch of other hobbies like taxiderming or sanding metal dorsals?
It depends on the case. At least in my office, I tend to do all or most of the work on class actions. I think that's more efficient than involving a lot of lesser experienced attorneys and bringing in a lot of people who duplicate their efforts. It would not be unheard of for there to be 1,500 or more attorney hours in a class action by the time of settlement, and then paralegal and expert witness hours.
How's that work if a class action goes a long time? Like, lawyers who work for my lawyer don't seem to stick around his firm too long.
The people who work for me generally stay the better part of a decade or more. But even so, yes, there can be turnover in associate staff, and that's one of the problems with the lead lawyer not being willing to have an extremely hands-on approach in class actions.
Have you thought about bringing a class action against Queen's Rugs since you hate Myron Alfombra so much?
I couldn't bring a class action just because I hate him. I could if he violated labor laws in terms of the whole ever-growing berber toupee being a bad product. That's more of a products liability lawsuit, which I'm not an expert on because I'm a labor lawyer, I think. I do wish someone would bring that lawsuit. Why hasn't it happened?
Until you mentioned it, I kind of like the idea of having an ever-growing berber toupee, even if it was made out of nylon. I kept thinking maybe the berber would turn into a natural hair.
I don't know if I've ever been so confused on one of these shows. Every time this guy talks, he has a different accent. I'm not really seeing how a herringbone pattern of orange, white, and hot pink would turn into natural hair, J.O.
Hey, I didn't go with the herringbone design. I could have, but I chose straight vertical lines. Matter of fact, it's much more conservative.
What other designs for these ever-growing berber toupees that are actually nylon are there than herringbone and loop pile berber? I've seen the commercials for those.
Oh, there's lots. Let me think. They had the Saxony and shag pile on the showroom floor. That's a good one. When I went into Myron, whose office he had, on the floor, then he opened a secret door to his wet bar. He showed me a cut pile berber fleck. That was a little unusual. Straight lines of carpet and then little X shapes, And I was almost gonna go with the cut pile berber fleck, but the cut and loop really got my wife going. She thought the little loops of O's, and she calls them Cheerios, and the pencil-shaped pieces sticking up, and she thought the pattern was, well, this is her word, darling.
How does your wife feel about your coral reef toupee?
She said it's best I keep my minotaur headpiece on.
I think it's best this guest keeps the minotaur headpiece on because I don't want to see an orange, hot pink, and white striped berber toupee. This is ridiculous. I don't know what this guy's head problem is. I cannot figure this out. I don't know. It's just weird, guys.
35 pounds.
Take me out of this. Take me out of this. Call me at the office about a real case, 877-525-0700 if you've been wronged at work, you're owed a lot of wages. 877-525-0700. I actually am a real workplace lawyer licensed in California, Massachusetts, Texas, and Washington, D.C. Licensed in California since 1993. I've probably handled more employment lawsuits than anyone out there, and that's how I write this crazy stuff every week. So if you've got a real case, 877-525-0700. This program is live streaming on YouTube if you go to the Karl Gerber channel of YouTube. You can also catch it on iTunes. You can catch it on SoundCloud. You can go to workplacelawyer.org to go and see past episodes. And that's just how we do it. We do sketch comedy here. We hope it's funny. Sometimes it's really weird, and it illustrates a couple points of employment law. We're talking about class actions. Maybe if you have a serious injury, head injury like the players have, you shouldn't be in a class action. You should be suing individually. And we also are talking a little about workers' comp. So this is Talk Radio 790 KBC.
Who had a little bad luck. And I've been told this is a true story. The Employment Lawyers Group is a results-driven law firm whose goal is to get the right result for the client. They have represented employees with a high rate of success since 1993 throughout the state of California. They're only paid and if they are able to collect money from the employer, so there's not any upfront fees or costs in order to hire them. They have represented thousands of employees who've been terminated from their jobs, sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or are owed wages in an individualized or group basis such as a class action. Call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have operators standing by. They can also be reached at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Hire them and make your workplace problem theirs to solve.
Do you know that you
Talk Radio 790 KBC. You're listening to Karl Gerber, Workplace Lawyer Show. I am Karl Gerber, and I am a real workplace lawyer, and this is the weirdest show on commercial radio. So just think, who needs the internet when you've got this show? And this is an odd question I'm going to ask J.O., who has had injuries, but this is an odd show. This is what comes to mind. I got an odd question for you, J.O.
Fire away!
Do you wear your minotaur headpiece to bed?
How else would I keep my brain cells from congealing?
Interesting. Does that mean you wear the ever-growing berber toupee to bed, too?
Oh, yeah. My wife talks to the cute little loops and even the pencil-shaped ones like she's in love.
This might not sound very nice, but is your wife mentally well?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Are you not sure because she's in love with a berber toupee that has cute little O's and pencil-shaped carpet loops? Or are there other reasons? Does there have to be another reason?
Yeah, there's another reason why I am not sure about her mental status.
Would that be her being seen in public when you wear the minotaur headpiece?
No, she's a big fan of this show.
Ouch!
What about your wife?
Oh, she's a tall redhead. I go for that kind of a thing.
Hey, you wanna swap?
I have to see a picture, but not if your wife is mentally ill.
I wasn't thinking about wife swapping, but I guess we could just for a week or something.
Well, since we're talking so frankly, I always sort of wonder if a guy like you ends up with a trophy wife just because the guy was a big football hero.
I don't know too much about football heroes. I did meet one once at my agent's office when I was playing.
J.O., you were there at 3 big games. You're too modest.
Yeah, I guess I am. And I am sure your wife would be okay with me if it were only a week.
Did you meet your wife when you were still playing football?
Nah, I never had much time for football. It was me getting drafted for grape ball right out of high school.
Gee, you're modest. You play grape ball, too? Do you know Judge Bijou?
Objection! A compound. Of course, I knew Beezy as Bijou. Damn, that lady is damn near 60, and she can bat a grape a field away when it's coming at her nose 180 miles an hour.
I never knew Bijou was her first name.
That's what we called her back in '86 when the league was just forming.
I never knew there was a grape ball league. I thought she was the only player.
Are you kidding? How do you think I got my $12 million spread in West Miami Beach or my plantation in Dallas? I entered the league with a 7-year, $100 million contract. That was the biggest grape ball salary, 94 to 01.
I thought you played for the Cowboys.
What made you think that? I was a grape ball player.
No wonder why your middle finger is so well defined.
Check this out. My index finger, too. You do know you swing with your index finger.
J.O., how exactly did you get a head injury if you were batting grape ball?
You do know I could hit up to 180-mile-an-hour grape pitches, don't you?
Well, being that I haven't really followed the sport of grape ball, I'm not too clear on the whole head injury aspect.
We got helmets.
If a grape, suppose a green grape, for instance, hit your helmet at 180 miles an hour, wouldn't it just explode?
Not always. If it isn't all right, it won't just juice out in the air, Juicy Jones style.
Would that be a strike if the grape juiced out in the air?
It could be.
This may sound strange on a strange show, but are there regulation grapes used at the game with grape ball?
Oh, sure. But sometimes it's funner to go deregulation. Little immature, half-grown ruby reds.
I didn't realize grape ball was such a big thing until Judge Bijou came on the show on episode 29.
You don't spectate?
I can't say I have, and that's why I'm wondering what kind of protective equipment you wear, being that there are 180-mile-an-hour grapes and all.
And fingers. Don't forget the fast fingers.
Woo! I feel like you flicked me off at some record-breaking time.
At least my fingers are still good. Maybe you should try some exercises.
Is this now going to be like a health and fitness show? Those are quite popular.
Wiggle your index finger. Come on, wiggle your index. There you go, that's right. Now go counterclockwise with your middle finger. Not like that. You're flicking me off.
What am I supposed to do?
Now that I've taken the minotaur headpiece off, my neck feels vinyl grapes better.
I'm going to go on my phone and see if I can get a picture of the type of head coverings used in grape ball.
They sell them over at Party Time.
Yeah, I recall a store called Party Time on the Sherman Oaks Fashion Square Mall. You could buy like Hello Kitties, unicorns, and things like that during the late 70s and 80s, but I don't recall any unusual hats.
I apologize. I'm having trouble with one of my lobes.
Do you happen to know which one?
Nah, I meant to say Party City. That's where you can get a great ball helmet. Not all year round, though.
Why would helmets for professional athletes be sold at a party supply store?
You know, like it's about to be St. Patrick's Day and they have those kind of hats.
Green plastic felt hats with sequins?
Not with sequins. The derby kind with gold shamrocks on the front. At least that's my team's. Green Bay has a different style. I think they call it a top hat.
Well, presumably the I think they call them the Green Bay Grape Goblins. They wear a St. Patrick's Day hat suitable for one-time use?
Nah, they're a high-budget team. That hat's only good for one grape. Sometimes it gets pretty wet by the end of the second or the beginning of the third, and they change hats.
I definitely think your league needs to invest in real head coverings. Maybe something like sometimes, harder helmets can absorb the shock of a 180-mile-an-hour grape.
You make it out like all we do is get hit in the head by golden muscats all the time. You know our fingers do a lot of hitting, too.
Well, the internet here says you had a batting average of .387. Is that good?
It's out of .400, just like baseball.
Well, if that's the case, how many balls landed on your head?
Very few. Very few.
Well, how many is very few? But on the other foot, I presume one 180-mile-an-hour grape could do it.
I am awful thirsty. Do you have any grape juice?
Concord or Delaware?
Right about now, I could go for dark Delaware.
There's a real old can of Delaware Punch in the freezer over in the kitchen.
Okay.
You're welcome to it,
Okay.
but I can't be responsible for the after effects.
The design on that could be a sure seller for Queen's Rugs. Purple and a reddish orange with stripes, and wow, everybody would wear those colors at the big game. Those were our colors, yeah, just like frozen can of Delaware Punch.
I've got to get out of here while I still can. I think you should file a workers' comp claim, J.O. See like a real doctor and ditch the Minotaur headpiece.
35-pounded.
Yeah. Maybe you could make a deal with Remus Helms so his arbitrator can wear your pure silver Minotaur headpiece, whether it's 35 or 75 pounds.
Thanks. Thank you. That is the best legal advice I've gotten in years.
What, that you should sell the headpiece to Remus Helms?
Yes.
What else do you do with a contraption like that?
35 pounds. I got to weigh it.
It's absurd. And this, listeners, is why I think it's important that people involved in a legal case get real medical treatment. It's not a good idea to self-medicate and buy a Minotaur headpiece to congeal your brain cells.
Gremlin pills.
Yeah, and the gremlin pills too. It's not a good idea. And if you go about a course of treatment, if you're going to claim emotional distress, for instance, in a wrongful termination case, and your course of treatment is ridiculous, taking AMC Gremlin pills or wearing a Minotaur headpiece, you might not get better from the trauma of a wrongful termination or an act of discrimination, and the employer is not going to be responsible for the fact you chose a course of treatment which is absurd. And I think the course of treatment our guest tonight chose is about as absurd as it gets. Other thing we touched upon is class actions are something I do. It takes up a lot of my time. It's what I do on these cases, mostly for wages. But if someone is owed a lot of wages, even $20,000 or $50,000 or $100,000, in good conscience, I can't recommend they bring a class action because the individual damages are large that they may have. And in a class action, they're not going to get that. And so we do talk about real legal things here in a comedic fashion, because otherwise, really, who wants to hear a show where we just list off a bunch of labor laws and talk to a bunch of boring guests?
Not me.
Yeah, I don't think we'd want a guy like this doing it. And sometimes we got to use a couple accents, a couple voices to do it, too. So if you have a real case about employment law, I hope you call me at the office at 877-525-0700. I have a lot more than 5 offices in Southern California: Bakersfield, Tustin, Ontario, Riverside, Los Angeles, Sherman Oaks, Torrance, and I think there are more, but that's all I can think of right now. 877-525-0700 for a leading labor lawyer. Again, 877-525-0700. And, when you're taking these cases as seriously as I do, it's good once a week to come in here and have some laughs. And because I've done so many of these cases, I can think up some pretty absurd stuff. I hope you do listen to some of the old episodes. We're already on the show 42. Next week is same time, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock on this station you're listening to, which happens to be Talk Radio 790 KBC. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, licensed in 4 states.
A barrel and secured a rope below, but in me haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks is heavier than me. And so when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead, and clinging tightly to the rope.
This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.